we did it. With the subs up, you better listen. Coming up, but ain't no competition. Nah, I ain't tripping. All the boys kinda moving to my flow. Now the girls kinda dropping low. Going through the most, cause they ain't afraid to grow. Coast to the coast, I'ma hit your radio. Feeling body every day. I know that. Now I'm finally on my way. I know that. I've been on my gun, I've been feeling myself. I do it for me, not for nobody else. I'm looking what I see. Hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life. Hit different. With the bang, ready. Hit different. Ooh, over there, who's the hot one with the long hair? Looky. Ooh, that's me. Mirror, showing I'm a bad bitch. And I don't see the girl that I felt. So down and out on the self. A total mind and body globe down in every cell. Living it up. And I'ma go and killing it, cause this is what I do. Dreaming about it every day. I know that. Now I'm finally on my way. I know that. I've been on my gun, I've been feeling myself. I do it for me, not for nobody else. I'm looking what I see. Hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life. Hit different. With the bang, bang. Boom, 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 bang. Boom, bada, boom, bada. Hit different. Boom, 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 bang. Boom, bada, boom, bada. Hit different. Coming in hot, I'ma get in it. Got you feeling that bass when I'm hitting it. With the bang. Hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life. Hit different. With the bang, ready. Hit different. Say imitation is the highest form of flattery. Well, I guess using that equation, you must really fucking love me. Now I can blame you on the shit. Check the fit. Got you maxing out the visa, tryna cop the vision. Tryna be, oh, but everyone can see you're the cheapo repo pizza, and I'm the Mona Lisa. You're talking while I'm walking by. Look a little green, I know you do. No, you won't want mine, so take my advice. Get alive. Love me or hate me, but you're still super shady. Got my name on the daily, but you wanna be just like me. So fakey, want a piece of this cakey. I'm a superstar, baby. Yeah, you wanna be just like me. Wanna be, wanna be. Just like me. Wanna be, wanna be, just like me. Yeah, like a copy paste. Get up on my lane. I'm a Sachi overseas. I can be replaced. I'm a shred. Check the fit. You're the cheapo repo pizza, and I'm the Mona Lisa. You're talking while I'm walking by. Look a little green, I know you do. No, you won't want mine, so take my advice. Get alive. Love me or hate me, but you're still super shady. Got my name on the daily, but you wanna be just like me. So fakey, want a piece of this cakey. I'm a superstar, baby. Yeah, you wanna be just like me. Wanna be, wanna be, wanna be, just like me. Wanna be, wanna be, just like me. Wanna be, wanna be, just like me. Look at me, I know you can't resist what you see. The curves, the heels, the hips. Hit your screen, and baby, now you're mine. Love on me, hate on me, you can get me off your mind. From what I got to the top, top tryna cop how I pop. But they all look calling. I'll be stacking millies while you watch me. Sorry, but I ain't sorry. Get all you want, get what you need. Just know the show is never free. Give me your good, ugly or bad. I still get the bag. Looky at my face, but you wanna taste. Got a lot to say, but you can't look away, babe. Sucky, hey, make you wanna play. Yeah, you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Like you, or you don't, I'm gonna get money, make it on the internet. You can call it fake, you can go and hate, but you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Help me put my money in a big bag. You gon' get me paid. Put your head and replay. Got my name in your tongue. Stepping all of this steak. It can eat it on crumbs. Do how I do it and let it do what it does. Love on me, hate on me, you can't get enough, baby. Got a black without a degree. Got a mag 'cause I'm VIP. Run it back and you feel the heat. I play the game and y'all want it. So I ain't crying over comments. Get all you want, get what you need. Just know the show is never free. Give me your good, ugly or bad. I still get the bag. Looky at my face, but you wanna taste. Got a lot to say, but you can't look away, babe. Sucky, hey, make you wanna play. Yeah, you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Like you, or you don't, I'm gonna get money, make it on the internet. You can call it fake, you can go and hate, but you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Ooh, it's a little sad, it's gotta be this way. That you're bitter with the mirror, so you come for me. Looky at my face, but you wanna taste. Got a lot to say, but you can't look away, babe. Sucky, hey, make you wanna play. Yeah, you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Like you, or you don't, I'm gonna get money, make it on the internet. You can call it fake, you can go and hate, but you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Help me put my money in a big bag. You gon' get me paid. Help me put my money in the fat stack. You gon' get me paid.
Welcome back to this channel. It's Resident Internet Psychic Medium and Spiritual Advisor, Mr. Grain. How you guys doing? If you are catching this on the replay, can you help us all out and timestamp it for us, please? Because I know people on the replay, you get that long or real long intro. so help everybody out, please. Just timestamp it for all of us. Thank you very much. Hi, cute. Not just pets. How you doing? I was about to say, can you hear me? But I guess that means you can hear me, which is good. I had to move the mic out of my face. Come on in. Come on. Gather around. Come sit. I've got stories galore today. I do. I've got a message for you too. I have one of those. Yes, come on in. Sit down. Sit. Make yourself at home. Make yourself comfortable. Get yourself a drink, maybe a snack. I don't know how long we're going to be here today. Michelle, greetings. Hi, Michelle. Cinnamon Henry, hi. Nita, hey, I made it to the live. You did. Welcome. Got me loud and clear. Good. So, you guys, I have a follow-up. Remember last week how I told you how I went to Starbucks and then this girl at Starbucks fangirled really hard because she thought she knew me, and then I fangirled back because then I was so excited, and then we came to the really awkward conclusion that she in fact did not know me and that it was wrong and we had got it all mixed up, right? Like, I saw her again today. And when I tell you, it wasn't any less awkward. Okay. So I went to Starbucks today this morning. I have a routine. I'm thinking that she's probably new at this Starbucks. I go to the same Starbucks, and I'm thinking that she works morning Wednesday shifts. Okay. Because I pulled up this morning and there she was. And when I told you, like, her face lit up again, and then there was an immediate come down when she realized not only who I was, but she, in fact, did not know me like how she thought she had knew me. And it was real awkward. It was. And there was an elephant in the room. And we both collectively decided not to talk about it. And so she very awkwardly was like, "Here's your drink." And I very awkwardly was like, "Thank you." And I drove off, and it was weird. It was weird. It was weird. Mm-hmm. So apparently this is her shift. I now know. I now know better. So you need some rain knowledge. Did she think you were the right person all along? I mean, I think she did. I think she did. But it wasn't me, it wasn't me, but I think she was real convinced that it was. And then I don't know. She did today have a little bit of, she still had like a look of confusion, right? Like she recognized it was me, but she, like, I could tell that she remembered the conversation from last week where I was like, "It's not me." And so when she saw me again, like her face lit up again, and then she like had a moment where she went, "Oh," and she came back down. And so like that energy is still there, but I don't, it was awkward though. I could tell you, it was awkward. Bonzo, what's up? She could have played it off. You would have done that. You know what? It probably would have been better if she did. I didn't know what to say. Like what do I say? Like, remember when you thought you knew me? Like, I don't like. I would like to play it off too, but I don't even know what to say. Also, part of the issue is that I don't think either one of us expected to see each other in the same setting that caused the whole thing in the first place. So she was thrown off guard. I was thrown off guard because it's very rare that I see the same person in the Starbucks window every time. And I go to the same Starbucks every morning. It's very rare that I see that. But with her, it was the same. So I don't think either one of us knew what to do. Oh my gosh, remember when I thought you were that influencer? Yeah, right? Kamisha says, "Oh my gosh, I just started following you. I just pre-ordered your book yesterday. Thank you for everything." Oh my God, that's so. Hey, shoot me an email, right? Because everyone that pre-orders a book, you get a free ebook. So shoot me an email, like with just kind of like a screenshot, like with proof of order, so you can get your free ebook. I usually say that to people, "Don't act like you know me. Don't act like you know me." Really? Why? Because I'm like the opposite. I'm like, even if you don't know me, I'm like, pretend. Thank you so much for your podcast. You're so welcome. Oh my gosh. I don't know what I said. I think on my podcast, I talk a lot of shit. I really do, So I don't know what it was that I said, but you are more than welcome. Imagine she's actually watching this live. That would be really funny. That would be, and then at that point, I would owe her a huge apology for accidentally gaslighting her for the whole situation. Kamisha, you're so welcome. Don't even, it's like not even a problem. It's so not a problem. I have a weird timeline jumping story, which I thought would be fun to share because then I can then teach you about like timeline hopping because it's so simple. But I feel like the internet makes it so weird. But anyway, right? So to the story. So after the Hurricane Helene, right? Where I live, there wasn't any damage. There was like one tree that fell down, a skinny tree that fell down, and it was like small enough for like people to push it out of the way, kind of thing, right? Like there was no bulldozer required, there was no flooding, nothing happened in the area that I was in. However, there is this one neighbor's house where for some reason they had this huge tree fall in their yard, and the tree was like over their roof as well as on top of two of their cars. So they couldn't like get out of the house. They couldn't back up out of it. And I remember seeing the tree down, like me and my husband looking at it being like, "Oh, that's really unfortunate," because all the houses around it were completely untouched. Maybe there was a few extra leaves in the yard, but it wasn't like there wasn't any damage anywhere. Everything was fine. Like nothing was out of place and nothing was wrong. But it was this one particular house where there was like this big ash tree. And I remember passing like the house like daily for like a week, being like, oh man, like that really sucks. You know what I mean? Like to be the only one and you got to wait for someone to come move the tree, you know? Anyway, they did. Someone came and they moved the tree and they cleared it out. And so they like cleaned up the yard and everything. And I remember like my husband and I, we drove past it and we were like, oh, good for them, because I'm sure that that was really uncomfortable, right? So their whole yard has cleaned up. It was almost like there was no trace of the tree. The cars had no damage. It looked like it was back to its status quo. So we were like, oh, that's cool, right? Tell me why yesterday we're driving past the house and the tree was there again. It was in the same spot. It had landed in the same spot. It hadn't been removed. The cars were still trapped. And it was like the tree had never been cleaned up, because the tree had gotten cleaned up and it had been cleaned up for a minute, right? But suddenly yesterday, we were on our way to a new buffet, which, by the way, if you ever have an opportunity to visit a buffet that has just opened, you need to go do that. When I tell you, I have never tasted Pepsi so crispy, because it's a new machine. Like, have you ever had soda out of a new machine? Like, seriously. Or gone to a buffet and like no one has eaten off the plates yet and the plates don't have any scratches on it, and like there's no scratches on the fork, and like everything is brand new and super clean and there hasn't been an ass in any of the seats yet. Like, this is like grand opening. This is like what I'm talking. Like, it's like a super new buffet. Now, where is it? I'm not going to tell you. All right? Because this is the internet, and because it's now my husband and I's spot, and so I don't want to share it. But if you ever have an opportunity in life to visit a new buffet, you need to really jump on that, because there will never be like an opportunity where you don't have to like share a plate. I mean, I know it's supposed to go through some kind of sanitizer, but when I tell you the food is really, it tastes different. It really does when it's like the first time anyone's eaten off that plate. And the benches and the seats are really nice, and the tables are so clean, you know, when it's the first time it's ever been used. So I'm just putting that out there. But that's where we were going. We were headed to a buffet, right? Minding our business. And we both looked over and we were like, why is that tree there? So I said to him, you can see the tree? Because like I know I see things all the time, right? And so I'm not always necessarily like, I don't have this expectation that people that I'm with when I'm seeing something are also seeing what I'm seeing. But I was like, you see the tree? And he was like, yeah, I see the tree. And I was like, but wasn't that tree already cleaned up? And he was like, yeah, it was already cleaned up. And I was like, okay, so you see what I see, right? Like, you also have an awareness that this tree wasn't there before, right? That it was there, but then they cleaned it up, but it's like back. You see that, right? And he was like, yeah, I totally see that. But then his muggle brain kicked in and he was like, well, maybe it's a second tree that fell down. And I was like, so you're telling me that there was two trees and the second tree fell down the exact same way in the exact same spot, blocking the exact same cars? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I asked too much of you. But the tree was back in the same spot. And so this morning I woke up and I thought to myself, I wonder what timeline I'm on right now. I got to go to Starbucks. It's the same way. I'm going to be really curious to see where that tree is and if that tree is down. Anyone want to take a guess whether or not the tree was down, or whether or not the tree was there at all? Anyone want to guess? Anyone want to guess what happened to the tree? I'll tell you. The tree was gone. The tree was cleaned up. There's like no trace of it. Cleaned up, no debris, nothing. From yesterday evening, by the way. So it wasn't even like there was a set of business hours that happened where a crew can come in and remove it. We saw the tree going to dinner yesterday. And this morning, there was no tree. And I went out to go pick up dinner today, came back, there's still no tree. So I just said that was really cool because I was like, well, how many timelines did I hop? Like, where was I going? Like, where was I going, you know? And then I thought, oh, you know what? This could be super fun to like explain to you like how timelines work and how fast you can hop them. Because we see sometimes we'll have like evidence that we've moved, but sometimes you don't necessarily know how to pinpoint it, or like you don't necessarily always know how to identify what it is that you're seeing. And so I'm gonna burst everyone's bubble because it's gonna be the easiest thing, and it's gonna sound so easy that your brain is going to want to make it harder than like what it really is, right? Because when you think about jumping timelines and then like you Google it or you go on YouTube, there's like these long elaborate videos about how you do this, and like you go into this meditation, and you ask the guides, and you do something with quantum stuff, you do some quantum physics, right? And it's like this whole formula that's laid out, and then you're like trying to jump timelines and you're like, I don't know how I'm doing it. The way you jump a timeline, it's this simple, is by choosing things, by making new choices, right? That's it. So, for example, if you are currently on a timeline that you don't really like all that much, you would jump timelines by choosing something that you wouldn't normally choose to do. By like, so let's say you have like a habit of doing a certain thing, not doing that particular thing. It doesn't have to be the opposite, but just doing something that you wouldn't typically do, right? So let's say there's a situation where I don't know, you wake up on a Saturday, you're off, you have time, you feel inspired, right? And then something like just overwhelms you and you're like, pastels sound fun, right? And then maybe you've had situations in the past where like maybe you're like, oh, maybe today I'll go play football. Or maybe today I'll go, let me call my friend to see what they're doing, right? Maybe you have this habit of like having these, well, maybe I'll do this, but then you don't act on it, right? A way you would jump timelines would be acting on it. So let's say you get a weird thing and you're like, pastel sound real nice right now. You then follow that, right? You act on it. So then you're like, okay, well, maybe I'll go to like a Hobby Lobby or I'll go to a craft store. And then you go. And then you find some pastels there. And then instead of looking at it, maybe you go, okay, well, maybe I'll buy it. Maybe I'll try to like, I don't know, like create something with this, or I'll try to create a picture with this or something. And then so then maybe you buy, I don't know, like a canvas or something like that, right? Then you actually then follow it through. So then you start creating art, and then you realize, oh my God, I love this. Then someone sees your art and then they want to buy it from you. And then you're like, wait a minute, I can make money from this? And then so you make it another one, someone buys that. And then you make another one, someone buys that. And then next thing you know, you're an artist, right? That's a timeline shift. Before you worked in a bank, you were a teller, right? You would get sparks and hits of information, but you weren't necessarily someone that would always act on it. Changing the timeline and jumping the timeline would be you then acting on it. And then now suddenly you're an artist because you acted on pastels, right? And so that is the timeline hop, because in the other timeline, you would have just been a bank teller, right? Which is nothing wrong with being a bank teller, but maybe you weren't fulfilled, right? Maybe it wasn't singing to your soul or something like that. You jump timelines by making a different choice. That's it, by choosing a path or direction that you probably wouldn't have chosen before, right? So a simple example, like another example could be like maybe you're someone that doesn't speak up often. Maybe at work, you're someone that plays a more passive role. And because you maybe don't want to rock the boat, and then one day there's an opportunity for you to say something, the different choice is you speak up. It's not something that you would normally do, right? You make a different choice, you speak up, and now suddenly your opinion is valued. People are like, wow, I didn't even know you thought this way. This is so valuable. This is so useful. People start leaning on you more in work, and then you get promoted. And then it takes you in a whole sort of career path that you didn't actually know was available to you, because previously you wouldn't have made that choice. So you jump by making a different choice. So if you are in a space in life and you're not fulfilled by it, maybe you just flat out don't like it, you make a different choice. You do something different, right? You could, maybe you had a plan to, I don't know, go to Florida, I don't know, on vacation. And then last minute there was a change and then you went to California. That is a different timeline, because in Florida, there is one set of circumstances, one set of people. California is a different set of circumstances and a different set of people. The moment you change your mind, the moment you do something different, is the moment you are now on a different timeline. And so we jump timelines so often throughout the day. Every time you hit a choice point is the moment you have gone on a different timeline, because each choice will take you to a different place. Like, you remember those books from like a while back, like the choose your own adventure books, like that we used to have as a kid, and it would say, for this outcome go to page 67, for this outcome go to page 128, right? It's like that. Every choice you make is different. Maybe you end up in California, and then the love of your life is in California. You come across someone, you meet, you instantly hit it off. The love of your life is over there, and then now you've moved to California, which is a state that was never on your radar. You were originally supposed to go to Florida, but last minute you chose to go to California. You hopped the timeline, you jumped. Some people need a muggle brain because they're not ready for the truth. The craziest thing for me right now, me and my friend watch things all the time on Discord. There was one movie I know we watched together, and he is convinced we never did. It's a movie I would have only watched with him. Yeah. That's just one example, but we have been saying it to each other as a joke. Now, like, what a timeline version do we have now? Yeah, it's all timelines. By the way, too, that's what deja vu is, by the way. It's a timeline. So whenever you have deja vu, you've just gotten a glimpse into a different timeline. And depending on the deja vu, like when you're like, this has happened already. So like you've already gotten you've gotten a glimpse into the past of a different timeline. As someone with ADHD who tends to change her mind about things constantly, I jump so many timelines, it's bonkers. Yeah. Same, by the way. Just wanted to say I've been watching you for years and I feel you have taught me so much. So grateful to have your channel. Oh, you guys, I'm an empath. You'll have me crying on the internet. And I always said I wasn't going to be that person. Okay. Thank you. And I'm on my period. I feel very emotional. Oh my gosh, so cool, right? I used to call deja vu checkpoints like we are going the right way. Yeah. Hi, Mystic. Hi, Kelly. Like it's just by choosing something different, and it happens really fast too. Part of the issue is that people will you psych yourself out, about why things can't work out, and craziest thing is so many people are writing the line of the timeline that they actually want, right? Like you're right on it, and it's usually because like it's something that you may like want, but you may not think that you can have, or you may not think that you're worthy of it, or you may not think that you deserve it. And so you're right there, but you won't make that choice, right? It could be creating something, it could be putting yourself out there in regards to something, and you're right on it. But all you have to do is choose to put yourself out there, choose to create whatever that thing is. But then people don't do it. And you're sitting on it. You're sitting on it the whole time. And you will usually sit on it for the whole of your life, right? Particularly when it's something specific that's like singing to your heart that you've always wanted to dream that you're not allowing yourself to pursue, right? Like you're sitting on the edge of that timeline all of the time. The only thing you have to do is just choose it. And then some people will say, well, then how do I choose it? You just say yes. And people go, well, what do I say yes to? And then my response to that is just shut up and just say yes. Just say yes to the higher timeline. Maybe you don't know what it looks like. Maybe you don't know how it's going to play out. None of us do. None of us know what it looks like. None of us knows how it plays out. We may have an inkling. People like me have a little bit of foresight, right? Like I can see pieces of my timeline, but I tell you, I can't tell you how I'm going to get there. Like I can't tell you what the final form is going to be, right? But like that doesn't matter. Sometimes all you do is just say yes. And then when you get into the habit of just saying yes, right, then an opportunity appears because you're someone that says yes. And guess what opportunity likes? It likes people that say yes. If you are someone that's constantly saying no to things, opportunities come around less because opportunities, remember, is also an energetic frequency. It has a purpose, right? It likes to be fulfilled. And if you are someone that's saying no and not fulfilling opportunities, then it's not going to come to you as often. But if you are someone that gets in the process of just saying yes, just say yes, that's it, then opportunities come to you more often. And every time you say yes to an opportunity or to a situation that you previously wouldn't have done that with, that wouldn't have been your answer, that's not your typical answer, right? Then you just switch timelines and it's immediate and it's that fast, right? It's just, so timeline hopping is not difficult. It's just making a different choice, because every time you hit a choice point, you hit a new opportunity, a new course, a new way of going. That makes so much sense. Good. When you say no, you hurt opportunities' feelings. I like that. I like that. I like that. Like you've gotta say yes. Like I'm the type of person too who like I don't like no's. I don't hear them very well, you know? Like if I'm trying to do something, or I've got my mindset, I'm like a dog with a bone. Like I don't hear no. Suddenly I don't speak English anymore. Like no habla inglés. La 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 la. I may switch over to Korean Borogo. I don't know no's. I don't do well with no's. I've never done well with no's. I have an issue with authority. Even when I was a child, I didn't take no's very well. I used to do this thing. I remember going to school and going, okay, I have 7 teachers. So all I have to do is run through the adults. Like if I wanted to do something, but I needed adult permission, my thing was like, out of 7, I'm going to get a minimum of 1 yes. And I would just ask and go for it down the line. And if one of them said no, even as a kid, that meant nothing to me. In my mind, I was like, there's 6 more of you. And then I was like, and if y'all say no, then there's a homeroom teacher. And if they say no, then I've got a guidance counselor. And then if they say no, the school's got other guidance counselors. I'll go to them too. And if they say no, there's an assistant principal. And if they say no, there's a principal. Like for me, it was all probability. Like out of all of you, if I only need 1 yes, how long do I have to do this before I get a yes? Because one of you is about to say yes out of probability, right? Like I never heard no's. To me, a no just is in my way. You're a barrier to entry, and that annoys me. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Okay. And so I think that probably ties into like a larger like message. And it's a message, it's something that like has been coming through for like a few weeks now. And I've been noticed that I've been saying it to a lot of people, but it keeps coming up. And like the message that came through was there's space for you. And so this feeling of like people wanting to do things, but feeling like they've either missed the mark, missed the boat, they're too old, maybe too young. That where they want is a space that has too many people. Maybe it's too oversaturated, or like this is what people are telling themselves, right? Or like what I want to do, somebody else has done already, kind of thing. And there's this feeling of like counting yourself out before even giving yourself an opportunity to run the race, right? Like you've already said, well, I lose, and you didn't even run the race. Like you didn't even try. You don't even know where you're going to place because you didn't give yourself an opportunity to do anything, right? And so like the larger message of that is that there's space for you, and not only is there space for you, there's always been space for you and whatever it is that you want to do, and that the only barrier to entry will always be and has always been you. The only gatekeeper has always been you. There is space for you, but you have to allow yourself to occupy it, right? Because like here's one thing about this particular collective. Like you guys are destined for success in whatever way that looks for you, and however which way that you want it to be, right? Because that's up to you, right? What is your heaven, nirvana, is different from somebody else's nirvana, right? But it doesn't matter for you. that is what is meant for you, right? And then I feel like some people going, oh, that's so cute, Rain, thanks. But I don't really think that that's for me. And so to that I say, some of you would rather fight me. Some of you would rather use up all of your energy to fight me, the psychic who is telling you what I see, right? Than just accepting what is your inevitable. And your inevitable is success. And your inevitable is resources in whichever way you want that to be. Your inevitable is love. Because here's the thing about me. I'm a very particular kind of personality. And if you resonate with me at all, then mediocrity is not in your future. It just isn't. I don't do mediocrity, not for myself, and I don't allow my friends to be mediocre. I don't like mediocre friends. Why? Because I can see it. I can look at you and see what's ahead of you. And it annoys me when I don't see you pursuing that, right? It annoys me when I see you settling for less than what you are. Not settling for less than what you deserve, settling for less than what you are. That annoys me, right? And so I'll push you because I can see it. And for me, it's like, I don't see why you would do something else. Like, why would you settle for this when, like, you've got all this, right? Right? Like, it annoys me. It bothers me. So I won't. And so I'm not, I'm going to push you to your greatness, right? I will push you to your greatness. I don't care if you're mad at me, right? If you're sitting there settling for less money than what you are, not what you deserve, of what you are, I'm going to call you out on that. And then I'm going to hold you accountable for that. And I'm okay if you're mad at me for that, because at least you're mad and you're rich, bitch. Okay? Be mad. I don't care. Because here's the thing. I saw it, so I told you, and you need to go do it. Go get it. I'm not going to allow you to just sit there and do nothing and then wallow in some crazy ass story that you convinced yourself is real about what you cannot do and cannot achieve and what you cannot be, because it's bullshit. I see what it really is, and it doesn't match that, right? And so if you've made yourself over here, if you made your way here, right? And you resonate with me and this group of people and like this collective, like that is your inevitable. I don't do mediocrity. I don't tolerate it when it comes to myself. Right? Like, we're pursuing the best of the best here, not because that's what I deserve. It's because that's what I am. Right? It's not because of what you deserve. It's because of what you are. Like, you're the creator and you're being mediocre. I have a problem with that. Right? But some of you would rather fight me on it. You will spend all of your energy being like, no, that's not true. I hear you, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, but I don't really see how that could work. Instead of just receiving what I said and simply going, thank you. And then allowing yourself to sit with that. It is harder to fail than it is to be successful. I'm going to say that again. It is harder to fail than it is to be successful. And the reason for that is being successful just requires that you follow what you desire, that you follow what you want, that you follow what you like, that you follow what's in alignment with you. In order to fail, that means you are constantly pursuing things that are out of alignment. Do you know how much energy that takes to constantly pursue something that's out of alignment? Do you know how easy it is to just do what you love? And if you're like, but I don't know what I love, then just doing things that you like and allowing it to lead you to what you love. It's easier to just be led. It is easier to just follow the path of least resistance. It is easier to just surrender and be like, all right, let's see what you got in store for me. Because success is a natural byproduct of following yourself, of following what's true for you. When you are following other people, what other people tell you to do, what society is saying, what society is telling you to do, that's how you end up in these positions where you feel like you're trying things and they're failing. Because you're trying things that are not in alignment with what you are. And most likely, not even in alignment with what you want. And you're pushing and pushing and pushing, and you're like, why am I not making any progress here? You don't even want to make progress there. You don't even want to do it. You don't even like it. But then you're like, but I'm failing. How? Oh my God, how was that failing? So you're telling me that thing that doesn't really sing to your soul anyway, it's not working out? How dare it? I don't know. I mean, I don't get it. Like, if you just followed you, your truth, your voice, your heart, your mind, and if the only thing you did from this point onward was follow you, success is inevitable because you will naturally lead you to where you are supposed to go. The problem is you're following paths that other people laid out for you, that society told you were supposed to take. And you feel like you're hitting all these walls and it's hard. And you're like, I don't get it. Like, why is it not working? Because it's not you. That's why it's not working. If it's not you, then it's not meant for you. If it wasn't decided by you, then it's not meant for you. If it wasn't wanted by you, then it's not meant for you. So, no, it doesn't work. But if you follow you, what's decided by you, what's liked and loved by you, then it's meant for you. It wants you to. It's in alignment with you, and it's in alignment with your energy. Success is inevitable. And because it's in alignment, guess what comes with success? Resources. It's inevitable. And guess what happens when you feel like you've got success and some resources? You start to feel a little bit better about yourself. You start to fall into a loving frequency. And guess what happens when you're living in a loving frequency? Love comes to you. Isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy how it all kind of links up? But some of you would rather fight me on it. Some of you would rather fight me on it than just say thank you. I don't do failure. Failures are not a part of this collective. Why? I would trigger the fuck out of them. That's why. But if you resonate, then that's not you. You're not a failure. That's not what you are. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to succeed. That's your inevitable. That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what's destined for you. That's what's meant for you. But you've got to make a different choice and start choosing things that you wouldn't have normally chosen. Or maybe you're afraid to choose it because you don't know the outcome. Maybe you don't know how it works. Maybe choosing something new would require you to put yourself out there, require you to speak up more, require you to be seen more often. And that scares you a little bit, but that's okay because that just means you're in a period of growth, and growth is pretty fucking cool. Chat real quiet. We getting read down. Yes. I don't do mediocre. I don't tolerate mediocre. I don't accept mediocre from my friends. I don't accept mediocre from family. Accept mediocre from my husband. Before we got married, I was like, you listen to me. What did I say to him? I said something like I'm on a train, or it was cute. I had a whole long metaphor. Something like I'm on a train, something, and we're moving. Like you either board or you get ran over, but we're moving. I was like, are you okay with that? And he was like, I don't do mediocrity. And I don't do mediocrity because it's not necessary. It's not required. It's very hard to be mediocre. Everyone I've known that has ever felt like they just was like not living up to life expectations, they work really hard to fuck up. I'm not saying that they want to, right? I don't think that that's the case. But to actively make decisions that you know are not in your best interest, that just sounds exhausting. Like, why would you do that? Well, I'm trying, Mystic Rain. I'm trying, but I have all of this childhood trauma. Well, get in line. So do the rest of us. I love you, but you're not special. Not if we're gonna sit here and compare traumas. If we lined up everybody here right now comparing traumas, there's not one of us right now that's special. We've all got them, okay? But guess what? You're an adult right now. And yeah, when you were younger, maybe you didn't have the power, maybe you didn't have the autonomy, maybe you didn't even have the knowledge or the wisdom, right? But you're different now. So what is your excuse today? Because that's what it is. It's an excuse. What is it today? Because any level of mediocrity is on you. We like to blame everybody else. Well, our circumstances. Well, if it wasn't for so and so, we like to put blame because it's easier to do that. It's easier to assign blame to something outside of us than to take accountability and realize that it is us. Not that we want to, not that we're intending to self-sabotage, but to take accountability for the fact that we can choose to stop doing that we can choose to stop self-sabotaging, that we can choose to stop putting things off because maybe we're a little bit scared, right? Of what would happen if we were to do something else, if we were to make a different choice, right? Like, we're not that little kid anymore. That's not what today is. And a lot of times what happens is that it's very easy for us to get caught in like trauma from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, from when we were a kid. And we'll hold that. And we'll be a whole grown ass woman or grown ass man holding on to child tears. Not that what happened to you isn't important, isn't valid, but that it's not happening right now. Now, if it was happening currently, okay, fine. And if you were like, but this thing happened to me, okay, fine. First, let's get you some help, right? Before we focus on the rest of this, But it's not happening right now. And so what you're doing is you're just living an excuse and you're using the same old played out excuse and you're replaying it like a broken record over and over and over and over. And you're using it as the reason as to why you cannot be somebody. And I have a problem with that because I have a problem with mediocrity. I really do. There's no such thing as not having an ability to be somebody. Because it's not about who you are, it's about what you are. You spend a lot of time in meditation, but you forgot what you are. It's about what you are. How dare you, with the being that you are, walk around with this ideology that you could never be somebody? How dare you? That's insulting. I'm insulted by that. And that's really insulting to this collective. It's not who you are, it's what you are. And part of this journey is remembering what you are. Remember what you are. Because if you remember what you are, then of course it's inevitable. Of course, success is inevitable because of what you are. You are the creator of worlds. But you don't think success is inevitable? Success is what you are. It is harder to do the opposite. It takes more energy to do the opposite of that. You have to work extra hard to be the opposite of that. And this is where the work takes place. It's in your mind. That's why your mind is tired all of the damn time. That is how you end up dealing with depression, having anxiety, dealing with shit like panic disorder, because your mind is working overdrive to convince you that success is not your inevitable. That is where the work is. That is where the energy is going. Now, how do you stop that? Because it is a mind thing, right? And it's a mind thing because no one wants to self-sabotage. That's not a thing. No one wants to intentionally put themselves down. That's not a thing, right? What's happening is that you're battling with your mind, right? And right now, you're living under the illusion that the mind is in control. But here's the thing about the mind, right? Because remember, this whole thing is a simulation. This whole thing is a game, right? So if the whole thing is a simulation and the whole thing is a game, we are the creator of worlds, right? We are the creator of the simulation and we are the creator of the game. What is the mind? The mind is where your awareness sits. Your mind is moved by your awareness. Your mind is moved by consciousness itself. So, does it feel like the mind is always betraying you? Because the mind is a riddle. That's it. It's a riddle. You want to crack the code and regain control of your mind, you go and you solve the riddle. What's the riddle? The riddle is that you have this mind, you think it's outside of you, and then you have to remember, right? Because remember, we go through a veil, the veil of forgetfulness, and this whole life is a journey to remembering. That is what enlightenment is remembering. Is remembering everything you left behind when you came through the veil. That's the game. That's the riddle, to remember. And once you remember, then you remember how to use the tools that you created because you're the creator of worlds. And then once you regain your tools, then you can have fun with life again because at that point you're now creating the life that you want, right? So when it comes to the mind, your job is to remember that it's a riddle. And the riddle is to convince you that it's in control. That's the riddle. But your job is to remember that because you are the awareness that moves your mind, that it was never in control in the first place because you're the one that wrote the riddle. And by doing that, you regain control of the mind. It's like a ship, right? You're the captain. It's your job to remember that you're the captain. And then remember that you're actually in control of your mind. And then what do you do when you regain your mind, right? You rewire it. The brain, number one, is just a computer. It's just some kind of biological computer, right? So your job is to reprogram the computer, right? Update it. Like switch out the software, shit like that, right? So if you get a thought, I'm not good enough, because you are now back in control of your mind because you have remembered that it was just a riddle that needed to be solved, right? Because all of this shit is a riddle. Think about when you are trying to communicate with spirit, or you're trying to read cards, or you're trying to get a message. All of that shit comes to you in a riddle, does it not? And you're sitting there sometimes going, okay, well, what does this mean? Okay, hold on. If I carry the 1, add the 2, okay, hold on, right? It's a riddle. The whole thing is a riddle. Spirit communicates in a riddle, right? Your spirit guides will work with you. They'll talk to you in riddles, right? You see repeating numbers. That's a riddle. You may see a butterfly and you're like, oh my God, that's a message. That's a riddle. The whole thing is a riddle, right? So when it comes to your mind, it's just a riddle. You solve it by remembering that it's a riddle, right? But you're the one that made the riddle because you're the creator. You are in control. You were always in control because the mind does not work without awareness. You are the awareness behind the mind. There is no mind without your awareness. It doesn't exist without your awareness. Awareness is pure consciousness. It was always you. You were always behind it. You were behind your own riddle. So even the part about like the self-sabotaging, feeling like you're not good enough, feeling like you're not worthy, was part of the riddle. It was meant for you to go, oh, wait, hold on, that's not true. Oh, that was cute. But that's not true, right? Because you now remember that you're in control. And because it's a game, your job is to now reprogram it, right? Replace it, reframe some of the things that you're saying. To say something like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, doesn't even make sense to me because you're the creator of worlds. You're not worthy of what? Yourself? You're not good enough for what? Yourself? You made it. So why are you not good enough for it? You created it. It's yours. That's the inevitable. Whatever you want is yours. That's the inevitable. You created it. Why would it not be yours? You are only limited by how big you can dream. That's it. That's it. And the only barrier to entry to anything that you will ever want to do is you. That's it. I don't care what it is. It is, has always been, will always be you. It's not someone else. It has never been, it's always been you. It's the riddle. It's the enlightenment. It's the awakening. It's you. So, with that, how do you feel about mediocrity now? That's when I say I don't accept mediocrity. I don't accept mediocrity from the creator of worlds. That's absolutely unacceptable to me. And I would never accept it. And so when I say that that's what I see, it's genuine. And when I say that I'm not going to accept less than what you are, that's genuine. And I hope that you can get yourself to a point where you also don't accept less than what you are, not who you are, because that's just a cute character that you're playing in this particular simulation, in this riddle, right? But what you are. Thank you for getting me together. You're welcome. And not operating, I've been playing low and not operating in my trueness. Yes, but you know what? Everyone does that. The majority of people do that. That's, you have to, there's this feeling, especially when you're making the switch. So the switch from like living the muggle 3D life to then living a more spiritual life, which is a life that's true to you. There will be this sort of back and forth battle as you do it a little bit. Like you have to get your sea legs. You know what I mean? It's practice. Right now you're in the practice of doing things that are not true to you, which is something that you've been doing for forever, right? And so when you make that switch to now trying to do things that are true to you, it's difficult. It's hard. It feels threatening. It feels scary. You're like, "Oh my God, are there going to be consequences to this?" Because you've done everything that wasn't true to you. And the thing with that is that when you do that, people get to know a false version of you. So when you do start acting in a way that's true for you, people are very confused by that. They don't know how to take it sometimes because to them, they'll go, "Well, you've changed." When it's like, no, this is actually who I've always been. You're just now seeing it. But this is who I've always been. Like all those moments when I'm alone, right? And like no one is around and I'm just there with me, myself, and my own thoughts, right? Like this is who I have always been. I'm making those limiting thoughts walk the plank. I love it. I would sit there and picture literally every thought just falling overboard. Are you guys okay? Did I make you cry? I apologize if I did. Any questions? We can move on to Q&A as well, or are you processing? Because I did say a lot of things. Now I'm not crying, quite happy. Good. I said a lot of things, and I could have potentially busted quite a number of bubbles. So are you sick of me for the day? Do you need a minute? Or is it like a Mystic Rain? Hold on. Like I'm just you're just enjoying the ride. Okay. Nope, not crying, but that candle magic. I am transitioning. That's why I've been MIA. Oh my God, Cosmo Fire. I'm so glad you're okay. I was thinking about you and I was like, I haven't seen them in so long. I hope everything is okay. Oh my God. I'm so glad to see you. Yeah, just sitting with it. I get it. Just have to go over things again. I get it. You may have to watch a replay. Totally get it. I totally get it. I think it's something that is profound, and when I had this realization, I felt like l liberated, I think. There was a part of me that felt free. I felt a little scared because it was almost like, "Oh, shit, well, what do I do?" Like, now that I recognize it's on me, what do I do? But there was a part of me that felt kind of liberated because I was like, "Oh, I can do." Whereas prior to that, feeling like I would come into all these situations in life and I had no power in it, no say in it, no autonomy sometimes. Um, that like the decision was out of my hands or it wasn't up to me. And so when I like had this epiphany and I was like, "Oh, there was something about that that was really freeing," right? But yeah, it was also intimidating because it was like I now need to go in and rework some things. Some of them being internal stuff, but then some of it being like outer stuff, like how I'm interacting with people, maybe how I'm showing up in the workplace, just different things like that. Cause I'm like, oh no, actually, I don't resonate with any of this. And like, that's a problem for me. But I also am like, the only way to change it into a situation or an environment that I do resonate with, that means I have to then do something. I have to change something, right? I got to say something. It's the only way. I'll send an email. Okay, good. I'll look out for it. Question, random one at that. Is there any info on sleep paralysis and spirituality? I only hear things bad about it, but I feel like it's not right. So I don't know a whole lot of about sleep paralysis. I don't know a whole lot about it spiritually, and I don't know a whole lot about it medically, other than the fact that it doesn't work for me. And what do I mean by that? I have had moments where little sleep paralysis little beings have tried to step in, like you wake up and like you see a figure or whatever, and every time that's happened I've punched them and cussed them out, like I'm talking like would wake up like, you motherfucker, like like how fucking dare you interrupt my fucking sleep. um I've experienced it 2 times, and both time whatever little cute little sleep paralysis demon that was didn't fare very well. I cussed them both out and punched both of them, and so came right up out of it. Didn't have a moment where I felt like I was stuck in it. Yeah, but I also don't do well with things in my energy. I don't like it. Like, I'm a one path, like life path number. I'm a manifester in human design. Like, everything about my birth chart is like, this bitch has to come first or she's gonna throw a fit. Like, I don't like shit tap dancing in my energy field. I don't like it. We're gonna have a problem. Uh, I'll be right back. Totally cool. Don't worry about it. How do you feel about death gods and or goddesses, and have you experienced anything with them? Ooh, death gods specifically. No, I haven't. I haven't. But for me, it's nothing but respect. I have like a profound like sense of respect for like death itself and like what it is in terms of it being a transition. I feel like it is a time to like celebrate. I look at death as like a graduation almost. And so I don't have any strong opinions other than it's just like a profound feeling of respect. And I could see how you may need being spirits, deities, like whatever, to help those some people need transition, to guide them into I wouldn't call it the afterlife, I would call it the next life, you know? But I haven't worked with them like specifically on my own. Can you deny your birth chart and choose to live in a different way? You can deny it and you can choose to live in a different way, but the themes will always come back. The themes will always come back. The way I view a death chart, a birth chart. Ooh, a birth chart. Well, death charts. Are death charts a thing? I'm curious. They must be. I'm sure I can pull charts on people who died and then look at, like, something just popped in my mind. If I was like, what if I looked at Michael Jackson's death chart, which is squirrel, right? But yeah, you can deny it and you can choose to live in a different way, but the themes will still be there. Your birth chart will release you if you deal with the themes and the patterns. It'll release you, but you got to deal with it. Please do. Yeah, like that would be cool. It's probably a little bit intrusive. I do believe the dead should rest. Right? Like we don't let people rest in peace anymore. Like they really should just rest. We just need to be leaving them alone. But yeah, I think you can deny it all you want, but it's going to follow you around. The themes are there because when you are born, you pick the energies that you want to work with to fulfill whatever mission or purpose it is that you want to fulfill in your lifetime. And your themes in your birth chart help you do this. And a lot of times in your birth chart, it'll first present itself as a challenge. Excuse me, I've got so much. I'm like burping and like hiccuping because I ate dinner before I came on here. So I've got all this food in my stomach. But anyway, it's like okay, again, going back to the whole game and everything being a riddle, essentially in the birth charts, if you solve the theme, it'll unlock and then it'll allow you to then do what you're actually supposed to be doing in this lifetime, right? So it'll present itself because we don't understand it as a problem, as a challenge, and then humans will take that and go, oh my God, I got all this karma, right? But really, you just work through the theme and then it unlocks like a new skill or a new level of understanding. And then you take that skill and understanding and you use it to pursue whatever the purpose was or the mission was in your life. Ain't there for death days? That's so cool. They are now death chart, Eartha Kit, never. Oh, Earth. Yeah. Okay. Eartha Kit. Okay. Never knew her time of birth. So I'm sure we have exceptions. Oh, progressive. I'm gonna look into this. I'm gonna look into this because what's coming in for me, I'm actually also curious about like family members that have passed on. I want to pull their death charts. I'm very curious about what will come up. I got this. Oh shit! I just spilled it everywhere. This okay, from Trader Joe's. It was an orange and spice room spray and candle. Okay. And something about the room spray, it is just not hitting in the way that I would want it to. If it's like you could tell there's fragrance in it. Like they put some oils in it. Like it seems like there's some essential oils in it, but there's a lot of fragrance in it. And there's something in one of the notes where it feels kind of floral. And I just don't like it. So I'm over here with my essential oils concocting new smells because it's supposed to be orange and spice, and then the spices are clove and cinnamon, which, by the way, I can get down with because cinnamon, for those of you that don't know, is great when it comes to money. And I love working with cinnamon this time of year because it's literally everywhere. And there's cinnamon brooms like in all the grocery stores. And so if you buy one of those, you put it by your front door, right? You put the cinnamon broom wherever you want there to be money and prosperity. Your front door, if you have an at-home office, you put it there too, right? Maybe sweep by the front door with the cinnamon broom. So I'm just going to add some like cinnamon essential oils to the room spray and just kind of, we're just going to judge it up. Make sure it's really hitting what it's that is putting down what it says it's supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like repeated houses. I don't know what that means. The birth chart I got from you opened my eyes to what has really been going on in my life. Yes. I'm so glad though. I'm so glad. Like my birth chart is actually really interesting because when I first one, it took years to properly understand my first birth chart. And when I first read it, I didn't see it as a gift when I first read it. I saw it as like all of these things I had to overcome and like all of these challenges I had to somehow figure out how to win. And Yeah. I don't think I was a fan of it, to be really honest with you. Whereas like now looking at it going, oh, okay. Like I was convinced that I would never marry because there's a part of my chart that like shows that I may have difficulty with partnership and things like that. But like, I mean, I did have difficulty with partnership, but I recognize now that there's more to that in terms of like I don't know, like I don't always accommodate well. Like some of that was a me problem, you know what I mean? Like and that that it was more so of an opportunity to look at how I approached partnerships, how I approached like collaborations with people, right? So like how I approached pursuing friendships with people, um that it didn't necessarily have to mean something that was like so romantic, but I took it that way. And then I was like, I'm never gonna marry. And I was distraught. And I remember looking at it one day going, what's the point? And I was just so overly unnecessarily dramatic about it. But you have lots in the eighth house. I don't have any in my eighth house. But that's interesting though, because that's I don't know. When I see like a whole bunch of stuff in the eighth house, I'm like, oh, so you're just supposed to have fun. We look at it as like, oh, the depths and the mystery and oh my God, and the transformation. I don't know. Maybe we like reframe that. Maybe it's just like, oh, another riddle. How fun. Like maybe, perhaps humans are just really dramatic and we make everything so much more complicated than what it actually needs to be. And maybe, just a little bit, not everything is that deep. Maybe it's not all that serious. And maybe we just make it extra serious. You missed an hour. It's been an hour. Oh my God, I gotta get out of here. There are things I want to do. Oh, multiple. Are you talking multiple like planets? This I think it's clicking for me now. You mean like multiple planets in a house, like a stellium? Is that what you're talking about? Is it just like you have multiple planets in the eighth house? Which, if that's the case, that's always really interesting because typically what that's showing is that that's like a major theme in your life. And that not only is it like a theme in terms of like what your potential challenges it could be, it's also a theme of where your greatest success probably will also be too, right? Because once you overcome that, then it almost is like it makes you qualified to teach, especially when everything is so concentrated. And it's best to deal with it because like when all your planets are concentrated like that, it's almost like they're occupied. And if you kind of want to release the energy, you have to deal with the energy. But it's not just like a challenge. There's a lot of success to be had if you have a lot of planets that are kind of concentrated in one area. Like it's usually like whatever that area is usually like your blockages, and that could be like an emotional block, it could be your mental blocks, it could be like where a lot of maybe your trauma comes from, and if you resolve that, like that'll sort of open up your path to success. But your success a lot of times will be in the same area and where all your planets were stuck. So if that's what you mean, if you mean that like all your planets are like in the same house, then like you would also have success in the eighth house, but you would have to sort of unwind your planets, and you do that by dealing with it, by just addressing the energy. It's not a long project, by the way. It doesn't have to be like you do this for years. Sometimes it's just about looking at it and acknowledging that it's there and then saying, yes, okay, I'm willing to change, or yes, okay, I'm willing to face it, or yes, okay, I'm willing to do it. I think I'm kind of like that one moment. I think it'll happen a time in the next. Will I find someone? Look, I was never optimistic. I wasn't. No. I can't tell you the amount of times I've panicked. I've had panic attacks. I was I indulged in a bottle of wine and I was like, it's just never gonna happen for me. Or I've been like, I just need to accept that I'm gonna be alone forever. I can't, the amount of fucking times. It's almost like spirit just sent him in because they were like, oh my God, girl, get off the floor. Like, this is pathetic. Ooh. I think we've got some success. Much better. That was, It just needed a little judge. Have a great evening. You too. All right, guys. We've been rocking and rolling. I've got other things I would like to do. Go marinate on what I said. I think it'll serve you well. All right. I almost hit you with the, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to this channel. Almost went right back into habit. But you can also do that. You can also just subscribe to the channel. That'd be great too. You know? Oh, and if you like tarot too, go check out my new book, The Fool's Guide to Tarot, on Amazon. You can pre-order it now. And again, like I've said before, Amazon is on an algorithm. Like, you'd be amazed at the amount of things that's listed on there for sale that you would not see. And it only gets pushed up and it's only listed in them 7 pages if it's in the algorithm, and it's in the algorithm by selling. That's the only way to do it. And so when things are in its pre-order phase, that's when Amazon is kind of watching to see if it should chart. And if it doesn't have a certain performance, then it won't chart. So if you were thinking about buying it anyway, it'd be really helpful if you did it now or at some point in the pre-order phase. But like, sooner is better. Cackling is like, I need to make peace with eventuality of staying single. I was pathetic. I'm not gonna even like sit here and just be like, oh, I held space in my heart. I didn't. I fucking didn't. I was a mess. I really was a mess, and I cried a lot. And I was like, I don't think it's gonna happen for me. Like, I don't know what to do. And then I got smart. Oh, my husband was a strategy. I was like, okay, let me be intentional. They say be intentional about everything else. Let me be intentional about this. And then I was like, okay, well, what's my intention for dating? Do I want to date for fun? And I was like, oh, that's gross. And then I was like, and because prior to that, I had convinced myself that I didn't want to get married. Right. And I had convinced myself that marriage was just a piece of paper and that marriage wasn't that big of a deal. And I did all of that because truly I didn't think I would marry. I didn't think it would happen for me. And so I convinced myself that I didn't care about marriage. Right. But then I had to like get real with myself. Like, what is it that I want? Like, if you can't say what you, because then I would meet people like on the apps and then they would be like, what are you looking for? And then I would be like, I'm just going to go with the flow. But that was a lie. I didn't want to go with the flow. Like, I had an agenda and I was sitting here lying, talking about, let's just see where things go. I didn't want to see where things go. I knew exactly where I wanted it to go. Right. And so I was like, okay, I have to be really intentional about this. And then I was like, if I know I want to marry and I feel like American men, Western men, whatever, that's not the kind of time that they're on. I was like, what are the cultures where they still marry and they still marry at this age? I remember being like very specific. And then I Googled like different cultures that like, how do they approach marriage? Like, how important is marriage in their society? Yeah, different things like that. And I always knew that like Asian people do date differently because like my first boyfriend was Chinese. I've had tons of Asian boyfriends actually. And I always noticed that first of all, my dating history looks like a United Nations. Seriously. Like, I've got a representative from every country, okay? But I noticed that my Asian boyfriends, the dynamic in those relationships were a lot different. This is a totally, you know what? You guys want to talk? I can stay a little bit longer. This is not Mystic Rain content, but I do think we may have some content. I'll help you out. I'll help you out for a minute. Okay. Okay. Yes. So when I had my Asian boyfriends, they were just different. The dynamic was different, and how they treated me as a Black woman was very different. Okay. So, like, how I was treated by Black men, how I was treated by white men, and how I was treated by Asian men was very, very different. Also, how I was treated by Western men and how I was treated by Eastern men was very, very different. And so when I was doing my whole little practice of like being intentional about what I actually wanted, I wrote all of this down. I have like a notebook and I was writing down the pros and the cons and how I was treated by this person versus how I was treated by this person and what they had in common and what the culture was. And it was like, I was linking it up. You would have thought that I was a detective trying to solve a crime. Like it was seriously like I was real with myself, right? And what I found was that I was treated better by Asian men. Out of all the boyfriends that I had, the Asian men were always kinder to me. They were always nicer to me, and they always respected me in a way that I felt like Black men and white men did not respect me. They also respected my work ethic differently. My intelligence was different. You know, like in Asian cultures, work ethic and intelligence is a good thing. Because a lot of Asian cultures have sort of saving face cultures. And so it's the image that can be created by the family. And if you can create an image of like, we're smart, we're successful, we're well to do, it fares better. So when I would date Asian men, sort of like my drive, for example, wasn't bothersome to them. Because it fit an image of whatever their particular culture was, but it fit into an ideal image. It worked for like saving face. And Asian men, if you didn't know, they do like Black women. I said, look, I get this question often, right? Because they go, well, girl, like tell us how you did it. They like Black women. So if you were leaning in that direction, I can go ahead and clear that off for you. They just don't think Black women like them. That's it. And so like, if you go first, then your odds are actually pretty high. So anyway, long story short, I was doing reconnaissance, okay? And then I was putting tallies in like different categories. And then when I finished, I was like, based off of what I want. So what I want being knowing I wanted to be married, knowing that I wanted a certain kind of lifestyle, knowing that I wanted a certain sort of relationship dynamic, knowing that I wanted independence, knowing that I wanted freedom. It was like process of elimination. I think I would fare better over here. And then I kept just going down, and I was like, Korea sounds like a great choice. Which, yeah, yeah. So I was actually really intentional. I was also intentional about the languages that I would want my man to speak, what his cultures. I was very intentional about religion because I'm not religious at all. However, I don't mind someone else being religious. I just need for them not to push it on me. I don't want any of that. That's going to drive me crazy, right? But in terms of like because I recognize that from like regular people, my belief system may sound absolutely crazy, right? So I don't care what your belief system is as long as you're not pushing it on me. I don't care, right? But believe you have something, because if you have no higher power, I don't know what that compatibility would be like with me. You feel what I'm saying? You know? So it was a very intentional thing. And then I wrote it down. I did. And it went on a vision board. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. About what kind of man he would be, what kind of personality he would have, what kind of like what was be important to him, what wasn't important to him. I like what kind of relationship that he would want to have with his woman. I wrote it all down. Yes. Oh, yes. I did. And it went on a vision board. Yes. Oh, yes. It did. It went on a vision board. Yep. And then he showed up 4 months later. Yep. But it was very intentional. Like it wasn't at all by accident, right? It just wasn't. Like my experience with like Black men and white men in particular, I think first of all, I do fine with both. Like white men like me, they just don't know if they can handle it. And then Black men they don't like it, right? So they may think I'm pretty, but they don't like it. They don't like that I have a very firm sense of self and that I'm like firm in my identity. They don't like that. I've tried. Was always came up unsuccessful. Yeah, but I like, oh yeah, I had Venn diagrams. It was a very intentional process. It was very intentional. It was very intentional. It did not happen on accident. It was not an oops. Now, I was surprised about the speed. I remember saying to Spirit, like, oh, y'all are funny. But in terms of like the traits and stuff, like, were you shocked to find him? Nope. Mm-mm. No, there was a vision board, and I probably, I don't remember for sure, but probably lit a candle or two. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. It was a very deliberate process. It did not happen on accident. Ooh, next book suggestion: creating a vision board for relationships. I love that. But you know what I just got for that? I feel like that's your book. I feel like that's your book suggestion. That's your book. I feel. What kind of candle? All right. This is what you're going to do. Okay. Where's a candle? Give me a candle. I got a candle here. We're going to use this as demonstration. We're not going to use it for real, but we're going to use it for demonstration purposes. You're going to get yourself a candle. And if you want to do, okay, first things first, when it comes to magic, I don't do magic on anybody other than myself. Never did. That's not true. I almost lied to you. Let me be honest before we continue. I did magic one time on one person, and I realized this was back before my ethics were where they needed to be. Okay. And well, actually, that's when I learned never to do that shit. Actually, that was the lesson, because it rebounded a little bit too hard, right? I tried to do, back when I was super desperate, I tried to do like love magic, and it rebounded so bad that it got to the point where I didn't want the dude. And then the dude became almost violent. It was almost like I was like, no, leave. But then it was almost like he couldn't. So don't do that. Like, seriously, don't do it. Do not do magic on other people. You do magic on yourself, right? And so you can do love magic on yourself. Please don't shoot me. I haven't vision boarded anything in my life, let alone write a book. Do you want to write a book? Is it something that you would want to do? It's okay if you haven't done it yet. Is it something that you would want to do? You know? So just do magic on yourself. Like, seriously, because it like, you have to look at it from this perspective, right? If you do magic to bind the will of another person energetically, that is sensed and felt. Even if there's no awareness of what's happening, energetically something is wrong, and you can feel like something is off, right? And it creates this thing where like people are trying to break free, but you don't know what's happening. And so it's not a good thing. Like, imagine, like, how would you feel if someone did a love spell on you? You don't like them, you don't want to be with them, you never wanted to be with them, you're not attracted to them like that, and then you find out that they do a love spell on you. Like, how would that make you feel? It'd be awful, right? So we don't do magic on any people, right? I caution you, white light one at a time. Yeah. So you get yourself a candle, and I would say a white candle works for literally anything, right? But if you want to do love magic, you can get yourself a nice saucy red candle, but you're doing magic on yourself, right? And then what you would do is take something like a toothpick or whatever. I have a letter opener, and then you would sort of like carve inside the candle what it is, right? So some people may just be like love that you may put in there. You may want to be specific. If you're doing it for work on yourself, maybe you're like, I want to work on how I feel about myself. Maybe I want self-love. You would carve that into the candle, right? And then what you're doing is carving the intention. When you're doing any form of like candle magic, you're just putting the intention in there, right? And yeah, so you carve it in there, and then you can do a white one. It doesn't have to be a magic candle. Some people will go to like a store, like a metaphysical store, and then like spend extra money on a candle. You can if you want to, but if you want to go to the dollar store and just get yourself a white candle, those work too, right? So, and then if you want to get extra fancy, you can get herbs. What herbs you would use would be the ones that correspond to whatever it is that you're trying to do. These days, it's super easy to get like answers to this. I would suggest that you go into your cabinet and like in the kitchen and you look at what you got. Maybe you got some oregano, maybe you got some allspice in there. Maybe you got some basil in there, right? Just use what you have on hand. Don't go out buying new things, right? Just use what you got because that's what ancestors did. They picked some berries and then got to work. You feel what I'm saying, right? There was no markets. You didn't go out buying new things. You use what you had on hand. So you go in your kitchen, you find what you got, and then you're going to Google. You're going to Google things like basil, candle magic, right? And then you're going to sprinkle in here what you feel like is aligned with what it is that you're trying to do. If you have some essential oils, you're going to do the same thing. Look at the essential oil you got. You're going to quickly Google it to see what it can do for you. And then if it matches, you're going to go ahead and pour a little bit in there and you're going to light that bitch up. Okay. Now you're going to be careful when you do it because the herbs are dry. And because they're dry, they can act like wicks. And so you just want to be a little bit careful because it can be a bigger fire, right? And then you're just going to monitor it and then you're going to let it burn all the way down. And what you're not going to do, like, let's say you want to go to sleep and then burn it the next day, don't blow it out. You're going to snuff it out, right? You're going to find something, close it, and then you're going to snuff out the flame. You don't really want to blow out a magic candle. Why? Have you ever made a birthday wish? Has any of those wishes come true? Back in high school, I wanted to. Many stories were started and I left incomplete. I thought about it again a few years ago, but didn't put true effort in any case. That's your book. That's your book. Whatever book that you want to do, you can write a book. You can write a book. You want to write a book, you can write a book. The hardest thing about writing a book is writing the book. It's not about figuring out how it's going to get published. It's not getting a deal. It's writing the book and then finishing it. That's the hardest part about writing a book. But if you put your mind to it, if you're like, actually, no, I want to pursue that, you can write a book and you can get it published. Remember, I don't like mediocre. Remember what you are. Remember what you are. If you want to write a book, you can write a book. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm going to go. And, I keep wanting to say, as always, if you like what you see, I don't see anything else coming through. So let's wrap. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week. And take care this evening. If it's evening for you, I don't know where you are. But love you guys. Bye.